Dr. Kathleen Walls.
And I'm Dr. Yolanda Spies from South Africa.
And where are we now?
We are in Ghana
At Webster University.
at Webster University.
Yes. And you've been watching
Dr. Walls and Friends on UCCN.
Hey, it's Dr. Kathleen Walls here of Dr. Walls and Friends, and we are here today with a super special guest to the show, Mr. Shayne Frederick. We'll be back in a moment to talk more with him.
My purpose is, and my passion's name. Can I get through this? Can I find my way? Though the road is long and the mountain high, I will journey on, live my greatest life, yeah. Dr. Walls and Friends, Dr. Walls and Friends, Dr. Walls and Friends, Dr. Walls and Friends, Dr. Walls and Friends.
Hey, it's Dr. Kathleen Walls here, and we are back with our guest, Shayne Frederick. Shayne, how are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I love when you talk.
You got me up bright and early, but only you.
That's right.
Only you.
That's right. I appreciate it. All right. So some of you may recognize Shayne. You may have seen him around town performing. You may have seen him on past episodes. He has been our music director. So Shayne has been a part of our life for many years now. But you know
Right.
what? Let's take some time to introduce you to the people who don't know you. Which is getting smaller and smaller as you're performing.
I know, right? That's right. That's
You know,
right.
on such
That's
a
right.
large scale. So let's tell the people about you.
A large scale.
Yes.
What would you like to know about me?
Okay. How did music come into your life?
Wow, good question. How did music come into my life? Well, I was born to musicians. My mother plays piano, sings. My father plays saxophone. He still kind of plays saxophone. So I saw it. It was there. It wasn't necessarily activated in me personally until much later. Like I didn't sing a note, play a note, probably into my late teens.
Really?
Yeah. They didn't really suspect that I actually had a musical talent.
Oh, my
or
goodness.
I didn't express it.
Yes.
And so,
Not even in the bedroom with a hairbrush?
maybe something like that, but not like on a public scale.
Okay,
you know,
wow.
And not something that anyone else will witness.
Uh-huh.
So, I guess at least my father knew it was dormant. It was there.
Yes.
And he bought me a keyboard and said, "Hey, here's a keyboard," and I taught myself how to play piano
Wow.
in the basement.
Wow. That is so fascinating.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. So it's so funny. So even though we've known each other for
Right.
many years
You
now.
didn't know that part of the story.
Right, I didn't know
Right.
that part of the story.
Right.
And so I have this image in my head where they're basically saturating you
Right.
with music and you're just kind of sponge bobbing, soaking it all up.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
I grew up in a musical environment. You know, all my mother's family played and sang and da-da-da-da-da.
Uh-huh.
And I was just there watching
Yes.
the whole time.
And what type of music were they listening to?
Mostly
and playing?
gospel, some R&B, funk. You know, they had their own bands and they were doing all kind of stuff, like local stuff in North Carolina, which is where
Okay.
I'm from.
Okay.
And so that's what I was just looking at, watching, seeing things happen. So, okay, cool. But I didn't have there was no impetus for me. There was not an activating force that said, "Hey, do music now."
Okay.
That didn't happen until I was 17, actually 18 years old.
So let's
probably.
talk about that. When was that moment? And I think it's so important because many times as we're growing up individually, if we
Yeah.
have children, nieces, nephews, so forth,
Yeah.
we don't know when that activating moment is going to be, but it's important that we surround them and saturate them with these positive pieces, these forms of healthy expression.
And like everything, it's like when the seed decides to crack open.
Yeah.
It has to be in the right soil, and the
Yes.
soil content, the moisture, everything has to be right. The
Yes.
light. So if any of those factors are not right, if any of those factors are not in place when it's time,
Yes.
it's not time.
Yes.
Right. So at that moment, I was going through probably what was an existential crisis in my life.
Okay.
So I went to college. I went super early. I started college when I was 16. Went to New Hampshire. I left at the end of my sophomore year. It was not the place for me. It wasn't
Okay.
the time for me.
Yes.
Timing wasn't right for that. I came back home. I was 18 at that point.
Okay.
Already a sophomore. Finished my sophomore year. And that's when my father had the keyboard, like, hey, this is the keyboard, you know, take some time, figure out, regroup, figure your
Yeah,
life out.
yeah.
You said you don't want to go back? Okay. So the music thing happened then. That was the time.
Wow.
And I literally started plucking out melodies and songs that I knew and getting all of these books and reading etudes and trying to figure out music theory.
Yes.
So that's when all of that started happening. Everything I knew
Interesting.
that was fragmented
Yeah.
kind of became consolidated.
Wow. Fascinating.
Right.
And was there a certain style of music that you automatically resonated with?
Jazz actually instantly happened. Yeah, at that moment. I was a jazz listener in my early teen years. And then when I decided to at least mess around with music, that was the music I wanted to learn how to play.
Yes.
So I took all the songs that I knew and I got the sheet music for it, and I kind of reverse engineered learning how to play based on that.
What do you mean by that?
So there are things you know, but you don't know that you know. And then when you figure out the framework of how that thing works, that discipline works, then you take what you know and you figure out why you know it. Or like, okay, so this is what the notes look like on the page. Oh, that makes sense. So if I play it like this is going to sound like that. Oh, that's a chord. This is a scale. Oh, I get it now. Oh, this song is in E flat major, whatever that means, you know. And so I'm looking at the music and putting all of the things together that I can hear
Yes.
to make sense of what I'm actually doing.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like cooking or baking, and then learning the process of, well, you put the baking soda, it's the leaven, the
Right.
yeast, and that.
Right.
Then you actually learn the science
Yes.
behind that.
Yes.
But you've already been baking,
Right.
and you didn't know that.
Right.
What you were actually doing, you were
Yes.
just doing it.
And
Right.
so that's what makes someone the difference between a cook and a chef?
I think so. I think so. There's a level of science to
Yes.
being a chef, whereas a cook is a person on the conveyor belt
Yeah.
of creating that thing, right? Where you get to why you know what you know.
That's
I
right.
guess that's what it is.
That's right.
Where you learn the why and not just the what.
So we're going to call you a chef of music.
I don't know. Maybe a sous chef. I don't know.
Maybe.
Somewhere. I'm in the line. I'm a line cook.
Good. I think you're a little bit above that, sir.
I don't know.
No,
That's
but
it.
it's very interesting because one thing that I will say about Shayne, and anybody who has followed your career from pre-piano bar,
Yep.
right,
Yeah.
forward, has seen the amount of studying and the effort that you put into your craft. Like, it's not that you just go and go, okay, well, I know how to play, I'm just gonna do a little something. No, you take the time to study, review, practice, feel it, discern how this can be conveyed to an audience.
Yeah.
You put a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, because it matters. That's why.
Yes.
Because it matters. And before I was actually performing it, I was just listening to it and studying it and watching it. So I guess that's what shows up.
Yes,
That it's not like, oh, I'm just going to do a thing. I don't know. I'm just going to do. It's never been that for me.
exactly.
It's never been that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting up here, we're talking about a chef and so forth, right?
Yes, yes.
Is it when you season food and you let it marinate,
Yes.
you can taste the difference?
Yes. Yes.
And when someone listens to you, watches you perform, they can hear and they can feel the difference.
I like that. I should.
Yes.
I like that.
All right.
I accept that one.
You accept that? All right. So let's take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
When we come back, you have some very exciting projects that you have done
Yeah.
and also some that are coming up.
That's right.
All right. So we'll be back in a moment on Dr. Walls and Friends.